Hello, and welcome in to another edition of the Swarm here on the Hive Media. Now, I know what you're thinking. Usually, when it is the Swarm, it is myself and it is CJ. But CJ has made the decision with things going on in his life and other things that he is stepping away from the Hive. So he is no longer a part of the crew here. So the Swarm moving forward, while we kind of figure things out, it's very much, it could be a one-man show. Moving forward here for a little bit, might be getting a co-host, might turn it into something completely different. So I ask that all of you that watch me, all of you that watch me and CJ, all of you that watch the Swarm, to stay tuned for some announcements. You know, it is the busy time of the year with the holidays, so we're going to try to figure some stuff out and see what the Swarm will kind of look like heading in to 2026. Wish CJ the best, obviously. But yeah, I enjoyed doing the show with him. I enjoyed whooping his ass in the picks every week, which I'll still be giving you my picks here because we're doing both today. This is a super show. We're going to be talking some AEW Full Gear, which happened over the weekend. The Continental Classic has started this week. We're going to be previewing tonight's WWE Survivor Series War Games, which if you're watching this right now, tonight, you know, big pay-per-view, big PLE. The Hive has got you covered. We are doing a watch-along, and we have ourselves a War Games party watch-along. It's going to be Josh. It's going to be Jamie. It's going to be Stu. And it's going to be Peggy all together. Everyone but me. It is going to be doing the watch-along tonight for Survivor Series. So that should be a good time. The show, we'll get into it. I think it kind of sucks a little bit on paper, but hopefully the show, they throw a couple surprises in there because it looks like it is going to be predictable. But hopefully not. Hopefully they throw in some surprises and all that fun stuff because growing up as a kid, Survivor Series was my favorite. You get the random teams, the 5-on-5 elimination matchups. It was just completely different from everything else they did the rest of the year. So I always had an infinite love for Survivor Series. Then it kind of dipped and it really wasn't part of that big four. And some people still don't think it's part of the big four anymore or anything like that. But with War Games kind of being added in over the last 3 or 4 years, it does feel like it's kind of lifted itself back up. And I like a War Games match. I like that stipulation. I like that gimmick match. It works for me, but I know it's not for everybody. But I would prefer if the War Games matches were more like, I know there's stories involved in them, but it just feels to me that it's like, all right, let's get the 10 biggest superstar. Let's get the 10 biggest people. We got to find a way to put them on a team together. Like I would like them to have a little bit more care with the stories heading in to Survivor Series. But we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But we are going to start with a quick little recap of AEW Full Gear. It happened last Saturday evening. It was a tremendous show. I was here on the Hive with Auntie Collins, making her on-screen debut for us with the watch along with me. We had a really good turnout. The chat was bumping. It was a really, really fun night. It was a really fun show. AEW yet again put on another great pay-per-view. And there were a few questionable decisions, guys. There were a few questionable decisions. I'm going to start right at the top. The main event of the evening, I thought Mercedes and Stat, I thought this would have been a good spot for them to main event. But seeing what we saw at the end of the show, and, you know, AEW, for better or worse, whatever side, you know, I don't think there's really sides to it, but for better or worse, however you feel about it, AEW has kind of always had the men's world title be the main event. I do think at some point, you know, well, we'll get into it, but you had a champion that was very pro, like I call it the men's world title, because we're trying to, you know, we want this to be an equal playing field. So there's the women's world title and the men's world title, which I loved. And I loved how he had that stance, and it seemed like the company was backing him up in that stance. Well, the next step in that is to have the women's world title main event of pay-per-view at some point. And I thought Statlander and Mercedes, for their two matches that they had prior, which we knew the quality of what that match would be, I felt like with Mercedes, the star power, I felt like that would have been the right time to do it. But alas, the main event was a steel cage match. It was Samoa Joe and Hangman Page. Hangman defending the title. It was a good match. It was brutal. Samoa Joe was bleeding a lot, like a lot. But it was a good match, as you would expect. They were beating the shit out of each other. Hangman was busted open too. And then as you got to the second half of the match, you see Shibata, the Ops, make their presence felt. You see Shibata come down. He's trying to climb the cage, but he is fended off by Eddie Kingston, who comes out and evens the odds. You then see Powerhouse Hobbs come out. He rips the lock right off the door. That big meaty man. He just rips the lock right off the door. He gets in there, and it's 2-on-1 for a little bit. The ref is out. There was a ref bump. It's 2-on-1. And then you see Hook come out, and everyone's like, all right, Hook just came back not too long ago, clearly has a problem with Joe and the Ops. He's here. He's going to help Hangman. Here we go. Hangman's going to retain. But no, Hook gets in the ring, and he wallops Hangman Adam Page. Aligns himself. This was all a ruse. Hook has been with the Ops the whole time, him and Joe. I don't know if this was the plan or what the plan was, but Hook hits Hangman Adam Page. He turns heel, I guess, even though he's just kind of been back, but he turns heel. Joe then hits a muscle buster on Hangman. The ref comes to his senses, counts the 1, 2, 3, and once again, Samoa Joe is the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Now, there is things that happened after this, which we will talk about in a second. I was shocked by this. I did not think that this was a possibility whatsoever. Not at all. And I'm not upset that Samoa Joe is the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. He is one of the all-time greats. He is in my top 10 of all time. I love Samoa Joe. But I don't think Hangman Adam Page should have lost this world title. I think, and look at, so after the match, Swerve Strickland, the lights go out. We see Prince Nana appear at the top of the stage. Swerve's got new music, and Swerve makes his return. He runs down to the ring. He starts taking out the other members of the Ops, trying to get to Joe. And we see Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland standing side by side in the ring, staring down Samoa Joe at the top of the ramp to end Full Gear. Okay. There's layers to this for me. Love that Swerve is back. Obviously, who doesn't? Swerve is one of one. Like, who doesn't? Him and Hangman, after their story and the layers to their story, completely get it. Completely get it. Swerve helped Hangman win the title at All In. And then we saw him, shortly after that, he's been, had surgery, been recovering. He's back. He's good to go. I have no problem with Swerve coming back and being inserted into the world title picture right away. That's where he belongs. However, not that I necessarily want Swerve to be a heel. I feel like Hangman should have just won this match, and Swerve could have returned and just said, hey, Hangman, you and me again, buddy, for the title. He doesn't have to necessarily be a bad guy. Like, they could do the, hey, I helped you out, I respect you, but like, my goals are to win the AEW World Heavyweight title. That has not changed depending on who's holding it. Yeah, we've had our history. Yeah, we've wanted to kill each other. I know we're not there right now, but that title is still the most important thing to me, and I'm coming for that title. And if it has to be getting through you, then that's what we're going to do. And again, I don't think Hangman needed it for the super long title reign or anything like that. I actually think Hangman is a guy that he is better chasing than holding. But at the same time, I also feel like, and this one was a very short one when you look at it, but like Hangman's been the world champion 2 times now. He's clearly the main character of AEW. He's the guy that everybody gets behind and all stuff like that. But his 2 title reigns have been subpar. So, I would like to see Hangman get back to being the AEW World Heavyweight Champion sometime in the short, not so distant future. But then I would like to see him have an actual, substance filled title reign where it matters. Yeah, I just thought that, again, with Swerve coming back, it made sense. I'm not saying it didn't make sense. I wasn't vibing with Joe winning here. I thought it was too soon for Hangman to lose it. I want to see Hangman and Swerve fight forever. I know that's a chant that some people get annoyed at, but like I literally want to see them fight forever. If you got to align occasionally, that's cool. But like, and don't get me wrong, on Wednesday night on Dynamite, they did a thing where they were side by side trying to get to Joe in the, like, I get it. It's cool. I still like it. I'm not like, I don't dislike it to the point where I'm like, oh, it's not like that. I just thought, questionable decision to me to put the title back on Joe. Not complaining about Joe. Fucking love Joe. But Hangman's the dude, man. I felt like Hangman should have held on to it for a little bit longer. But Swerve is back. Seems to be heading straight to Samoa Joe for the title. Him and Hangman are kind of teaming up here. They're aligned, but I would think that Hangman is going to be like, hey, thanks. I'm glad we're fighting these guys together. But when it comes to the world title, like, that's mine. And then Swerve, maybe we can see the Swerve and, something like that. So we'll have to really see kind of where it goes from there. But I thought the match, again, I thought the story of the match wasn't that great, but I thought the match was pretty fun. It's a steel cage match. The story that you built heading into the cage match was that Hangman took out the Ops, so it would be one-on-one. So I get the Hook part of it, because he didn't take out Hook, because Hook wasn't part of the Ops, but the other 2 guys for the Ops just showed up anyway. So what the hell was the couple weeks leading? You know what I mean? You spend a couple weeks with Hangman taking out Hobbs. He takes out Hobbs at Blood and Guts in that match. He takes him out, beats him. He's out, takes out Shibata. So Joe is by himself. And then during the match, Shibata and Hobbs show up. So what the fuck were we doing? What was the point of Hangman wasting his energy when they were just going to show up anyway? Doesn't make sense. And then Hook's heel turn, to me, yeah, it's a oh wow moment, but to me it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And now they made Eddie Kingston look like a fool because he's been teaming with Hook. They've been building that team. That team is gone now. You did that for what, 3 weeks? What, for nothing? That's gone. Now you have Eddie Kingston cutting promos saying, I'm not talking about Hook. Yeah, because there's no reason for you to talk about Hook because it didn't make any fucking sense. But anyway, obviously I'm assuming Kingston and Hook will have a feud, and that'll be a great feud for both of them, especially Hook. If you watched Collision on American Thanksgiving this past Thursday night, Eddie Kingston cut just a beautiful promo, as we've come to expect with Eddie Kingston. That guy is the man. And if this gets him into a solo thing where he challenged Samoa Joe for the world title as well at Winter's Coming, he's not going to win that match, but Eddie Kingston belongs up in that realm, not in a tag team. So like, I'm happy that Eddie is like going to be a solo guy and hopefully fighting for titles. And like, and again, the match was fun. There was blood, there was violence. It was really good. Powerhouse Hobbs ripping the lock off the door. Good time. A lot of the story didn't really add up to what they were building on TV for the 3 or 4 weeks prior to what we were getting there. And it just didn't make sense. Then we had the Women's World Championship, and this match was tremendous, as you would expect. And it did see Chris Statlander finally getting one up and defeating Mercedes Moné, and she defeated her clean. Statlander, they were working on the arm. She injured her arm early in the match, and Mercedes was just going at that limb like a shark in blood-infested water. She was just doing her thing. Stat used a lot of like like showing off her power in this match using the other arm. Really good match. The transitions and counters in this match were excellent. They were really the most exciting part for me was like just the seeing them kind of they were just grappling in there for strong parts of this match. It was amazing. I thought this match did a really good job of giving Statlander some adversity to get through in the match. And Mercedes was, as she always is, she was great in this match. She was ruthless. She was just being that heel, attack, attack, attack. Oh, your arm hurts? I'm going to rip your fucking arm off. That's what I'm going to do. That's when Mercedes is at her best in the ring, is when she's just that vicious, vicious heel. You know, I know it's different company, but everybody obviously, I would still say the quintessential match of her career is Bayley in Brooklyn. That match was amazing, but part of at least for me, part of the reason why it was so amazing is just how vicious Mercedes Sasha Banks was in that match. Bayley had the broken hand or wrist, and she's kicking it and slamming it into, like, when she's playing that vicious, like, I'm here to hurt you and do whatever it takes to win. That's when she's at her best. The spot where she did the 14 amigos, one for every title, including the one she was thinking she was going to win. I thought that was a good spot, but in the end, it was Statlander getting the victory. You know, she won the title a couple months ago, and it was in a 4-way, so anything can happen, but it was kind of out of nowhere. Nobody really was picking Statlander to win that one, I think. But her first 2 title defenses, she's beaten Toni Storm clean and Mercedes Moné clean. And as she said on her promo backstage with Renee on Wednesday, she's the only woman in AEW to do that. That is very impressive, and I think that already solidifies this title reign for Statlander. And I'm excited to see kind of where it goes from here. I know the women are in the semifinals now of their tag tournament, but there are a lot of ladies in that tournament that I would love to see challenge Statlander. Megan Bain, Marina Shafir, Willow, Harley Cameron, I think could be fun if they wanted to do that. I wouldn't be upset with us. You know, I think Sky Blue is doing some of the best work of her career. You know, there's Athena. There's just a lot. I think the title being on Statlander opens up the title for a lot of intriguing and interesting matchups, and maybe some room for some ladies who haven't really been in the world title picture yet to kind of elevate themselves to kind of go after Stat. But I thought this match was great. They've had 3 pay-per-view matches in AEW, and all 3 of them have been very, very good to spectacular. And this was along those lines, and Statlander needed the win. She got the win. I love what they're doing with Statlander right now. And now I'm ready to see Mercedes crumble. I'm ready to see Mercedes start to get insecure. She's 0-2 now, going for the AEW world title. I want to see her get some kinks in the armor there. That's what I would like to see. I would like to see her start losing these titles, you know, towards the end of the year or start 2026. She starts going to defend these titles. She thinks they're going to be easy wins. She starts losing. She gets insecure and she crumbles all the way. And then I think that Mercedes will finally win the AEW Women's World title when she's a babyface, actually. That's when I think this will happen. And I think how you get her to that babyface is she's got to lose all those titles, man. She's got to get to rock bottom. She has to lose all those titles, and she kind of needs to find, the typical finds herself. The crowd gets behind her because she's at her lowest of lows, and you build her back up to be a babyface champion. And she wins that belt, and she's the face of your division. She's the face of your company, and she's the baby face in the crowd. I think that's kind of, even though I think Mercedes is a better heel, I think she's an all-time great heel, if you want my honest opinion. I think she is an all-time, and I'm not even saying that like all-time, any whatever, not men, not women, not whatever, any all-time great heel, Mercedes. But yeah, it was very good. It was very good. We had the $1 million trios match, which saw the Young Bucks and Josh Alexander beat Kenny Omega and Jurassic Express. I actually thought the baby faces were going to win this match, so the decision shocked me a little bit. But what kind of happened afterwards did not shock me. Don Callis grabs all the bags of money. He's giving it to the Bucks. He's still trying to recruit the Bucks into the Don Callis family. And they start leaving. He's like, let's go. And he's walking them up the ramp. And as their backs are turned going up the ramp, the other goons of the Callis family start attacking Kenny Omega. The Bucks finally look back to the ring and they see what's going on. And they're looking at Don. They're like, what the hell are you doing that for? The match is over. We won. Like, why are you doing that? They're like, stop it. Then, the Bucks do that thing where they're looking at the money. They're looking at Callis. They're looking at the ring. They're like, what do we do? What do we do? And the Bucks make their way into the ring. They clear the ring. They save Kenny Omega. Jurassic Express and them shake hands. They put their hands out to shake Kenny Omega's hand. Kenny Omega slaps the hand away, and we get a hug. And the Elite are once again back together, and they all leave through the babyface tunnel, if you were paying attention. But they all left through the babyface tunnel. So we did get that. On Dynamite, we saw, I think it was Lexi Nair doing this one. But we saw an interview backstage with Kenny Omega right outside his locker room. He was asked about the Bucks. He said, I don't have a ton to say. It is what it is. Like, we go back a long time, blah, blah, blah. Very, very, vague stuff from Kenny. He goes back into the locker room, and Lexi Nair is, looking at the camera, getting ready to signal it back to the announcers. And then you see the Young Bucks leave Kenny Omega's locker room. So clearly they were in there, So the Elite, I'm intrigued by this. But yeah, no, I thought the match was very good, obviously. Lame. That's live TV, folks. That's live TV, folks. No, I'm kidding. I am recording this, but my headphones just died. So that's what that was. So enjoy that. No, but I thought this match was really good, as you expect. I actually thought Josh Alexander was very good in this match. I thought he was kind of the glue, if you want me to be honest, in this match. I thought he was really good. And now he's really the only one that has all the money. So I'm excited to see what happens. But the match was, the pace of the match is what you would expect it to be. Fast, furious, all six guys just looking crazy, hitting all their spots, going nuts. It was really good. It looks like we're going to get Kenny Omega versus Josh Alexander, potentially. I felt like they were teasing that, like a one-on-one at some point, which would be great for Josh and just in general. Should be a great match. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. We had the TNT Championship. Mark Briscoe finally gets a singles championship in AEW. He defeated Kyle Fletcher in a no DQ match, which obviously they were tables, they were ladders, they were chairs, they were tacks. The video package that they showed with Briscoe explaining, his family and why he did the stipulation and all that stuff, I thought was excellent. Briscoe at one point jumped off a ladder and did the froggy bow through a barbed wire table, which was just insane, just an insane spot. That was the best spot, or the biggest spot, I thought, in this match. He also did a razor's edge. He did like an avalanche razor's edge through the barbed wire table. And then he hit the J Driller on the tacks to Kyle to get the 1, 2, 3 and win. I am incredibly happy for Mark Briscoe. I have said it on anything that you might see me, any publication you might see me on. I never have a bad time when Mark Briscoe is on my TV screen. Whether he's talking, whether he's fighting, whether he's wrestling, whether he's brawling. Anytime I see that man, I have a great time. I have a great time. I enjoy his work. I think he's truly a special talent. I thought the backstage promo that they showed on Dynamite that he cut right after this match at Full Gear was incredible. Talking about Jay and his family and his conglomeration and just what that title meant to him. And just when he was talking about Jay, like, I just kind of felt like it was just, he's a special dude. Mark Briscoe's a special dude. I am tremendously happy for him. I did think it was too soon for Kyle to lose, though. But Kyle is in the Continental Classic. I called it I called it earlier this week. He beat Okada on Dynamite, and he beat Okada last year too in the Continental Classic. I had a feeling it was going to happen again. He beat Okada on Wednesday night, so that's a good bounce back for Kyle. I'm expecting Kyle to be a semifinalist in this Continental Classic. I still think that it's being built that the finals is going to be Okada versus Takeshita. That's just how they're building it. But I do expect Kyle to be. I expect an Okada-Kyle rematch in the semifinals in the Gold League, and I expect Okada to get the best of him that time. But I think that'll be the only match Okada loses in the block. Yeah, no. But this was a fun match. The level of violence was incredible throughout. Kyle Fletcher just continues to be just unbelievable. Just truly, truly unbelievable. A future star for that company for a decade. But I thought this was good stuff. I thought it was good stuff, guys. Then we stuck with the hardcore route. We had a no-holds-barred match. Jon Moxley, Kyle O'Reilly. We saw Kyle O'Reilly get a couple big wins. He won War Games for the conglomeration by making Moxley tap out. The story of this match was excellent. It was a big time battle of submission skills, which I loved. You knew a fork was coming. Marina passes Moxley a fork. He stabs Kyle. Kyle's bleeding. Kyle, he got locked in a Kimura for a long time by Mox, which kind of affected his arm a little bit, but Kyle was able to escape and transition into an ankle lock. And that, it was just a lot of back and forth stuff that was going on here, man. It was no holds barred, but it felt like it was different, right? So you had the no DQ with Briscoe and Fletcher, and that felt more like a no DQ. There were weapons galore. It was gruesome. It was violent. And this one was too, but I felt like the weapons were more used to like enhance things in this match. They were enhancing submissions. Like they used a steel chain on a bulldog choke at one point. So I think they did a really good job, these two, of like not making it just be another standard no DQ match. They they kind of did it in a different way where they enhanced the weapons through other moves, and it was violent. There was the fork and blood and stuff like that you expect, but I thought it was just done in a different way than the typical no DQ match. And Kyle O'Reilly made Moxley tap once again. Once again, Kyle O'Reilly defeated Moxley. Moxley tapped out to the ankle lock, as we've seen Moxley doing a lot of lately. So another loss for Moxley. But after the match, which was what I thought was the most interesting, so Moxley walks out. He's limping a little bit because of the ankle, but he walks out on his own power. However, Kyle O'Reilly, who's the victor now, he was tended to by medics for his arm, and it looks like Moxley is just going to leave, but he turns around and he goes in there and he attacks Kyle O'Reilly. Commentary's yelling, "What a sore loser, what a sore loser." I don't think that that's what that was. I think there's a little bit of a deeper meaning to it from Moxley. Yeah. It was very, very weird. It was not weird, but like, so O'Reilly, he's on his back, it's just Moxley held up his arms like he was like the winner after he attacked Kyle and all that fun stuff. It was just different. And then they showed on Dynamite a promo that Moxley cut right after the match. And he said, "Hey, you know what? Like, yeah, I didn't win, but guess what? Only one of us walked out of the building. And that was me, not you. So who really did win?" Like it's not always about wins and losses. It's about, whatever the Death Rider's mission is and, kind of stuff like that. So a little bit of a wrinkle and a little bit of a different change to kind of that type of stuff, but we'll see. There's another match involving a Death Rider that I'll talk more about the generality of where I think this is going. But yeah, I thought that was all right. We then had the Casino Gauntlet match, which I thought was a lot of fun. There were 12 men involved in this match. I think I have the list. Yes, it was Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin started, and then it was Ricochet, Claudio Castagnoli, Daniel Garcia, Orange Cassidy, Wheeler Yuta, Kevin Knight, Roderick Strong, Mark Davis, Speedball Mike Bailey, and the last one was Daddy Magic Matt Menard. This was a fun match. I thought Shelton and Bobby starting, and they just kind of went at it for a little bit. Not really. They gave us a tease more than anything. And then Ricochet came out, and I thought Ricochet was excellent. I thought Ricochet was just being a sleazeball like he is. He got his ass kicked the first 10 minutes of this match or so. He was getting, he was the guy that walked in there every few minutes and took everybody's big move or everybody's finisher or everybody. Like, that's who it was. This was just an enjoyable, fun match. The timed entrance is always going to be exciting. Everyone's going to count down. Everyone's going to get pumped. There were obviously a ton of really, really good spots. They had stories going throughout the match. The Daddy Magic and Daniel Garcia story and him chasing him through the crowd, I thought was a good spot. We actually saw them fight on the Thanksgiving night of Collision in a good match, which saw Daniel Garcia win. The end of the match was a flurry. Everyone's hitting everything. And then Ricochet slides in, throws somebody out, gets the pinfall victory, and Ricochet finally gets his singles gold. He is the inaugural international. What are they calling it? National, right? Not international, just national. National champion. And I actually think he's the perfect fit for it. I think it fits his character to a T. I think he is one of those guys that's willing to travel all around the world and have great matches and represent AEW well. I think, listen, we've talked about it. Ricochet, to me, this calendar year has shown me a side of him that I'm not going to say I didn't think he had in him, but he has exceeded any limitations that I might have ever had for him in my brain as far as character development. Like, I know he's all time in the ring, but like this character that he has developed is just so good. And the two guys that are with him, they used to be called the Gates of Agony, but Leona and Khan, they fit with him right. That is a great group. I thought they would be going after the trios titles, but I think the first national champion being Ricochet, I think that is perfect for him. Really, really digging Ricochet. He's been a top guy of my enjoyment in AEW this year, and I think that this is just going to keep him going this way because I just think this is a perfect spot for him. This was a fun match. This was a really, really, really fun match. Then we had the AEW World Tag Team Championship, guys, and we kind of knew it was time. Brodito, one of the all-time great, just put together tag teams. Just tremendous. Brody King, can't say enough about him. Bandito in the argument for Wrestler of the Year this year. They were put together in that tournament kind of out of nowhere, and the steam that they got and the overness that they got with the crowd, just incredible. And then they had a good tag team title run. They won that tournament kind of not out of it was kind of out of nowhere. They win that tournament. Everybody's in on them. They have a great title reign, great defenses, and they ran into FTR. And, a lot of people, including me, thought that this might have been the end for Brodito, and it was. One thing I enjoyed about this match, and it's kind of the FTR style, is the FTR are heels. I was happy that it was like a clean victory. I was happy that it was just kind of like a quality, clean win for FTR. They just out-wrestled Brodito, and they won the match. Stokely got taken out in a big spot where he was dead on the outside for like 3/4 of the match. It was just really good. And we know where we're going, guys. We're setting it up. We're going to get a rematch. It's going to be Cope. I hate calling them that, but it's going to be Cope and Christian coming back, going after the AEW World Championships against FTR. We're running it back. It's going to be for the titles. I would expect Copeland and Christian to win those things and have one last tag title run before they both call it quits, whenever that is. But this was a really, really fun match. If you saw the promo that Brodito cut, I believe they cut it on Collision, I want to say. It was one of the shows. I think it was on Collision. They talked about how they're, Brody King talked mostly, and he was excellent. He said that they're always going to be brothers, and they're always going to be Brodito for life, and they're always going to be fighting for tag titles whenever they want. But they are singles guys, and Bandito still is the Ring of Honor World Champion. Final battle is next Friday. So they kind of, left it open that like, hey, we're still a team, we're still brothers, we're still going to fight as a team, but we do our own shit too, which I thought was good. But they have great chemistry. They're just really good. They're funny. They can do the comedy thing if they want, but then they're just brutal and violent and great wrestlers. Like, I hope it's not the end of Brodito. I would like to see them do singles things and get, especially Brody King. I would love him to go after a singles title and win it. But yeah, no, I thought it was good. Then we had the 4-way tag match with all the 4 semifinalists in the tournament. Fun match, great match actually. One of my favorite matches on the show. It was Toni Storm and Mina. It was Willow and Harley. It was the Sisters of Sin, Julia Hart and Sky Blue, and it was Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir. 4-way tag. The winning team gets to pick their stipulation in their semifinals match in the tournament. I'm just going to say this, okay? I'm very happy that all 8 of these women were on the show. I knew this match was going to be fun. I knew this match was going to be a good one like it was. Mina and Toni won, which I didn't pick them to win, but after seeing how it went, and they're fighting Marina and Megan, who have been showcased as monsters because that's who they are. So I think actually Toni and Mina winning, I think that makes a lot of sense because they are clearly going to be the physical underdogs in this match. So giving them the option to pick the stipulation to kind of even the playing field a bit, if you want to call it that, I think that actually is the smart play. I actually think that went out well. I will say this, though. All what I said is how I feel. Happy that all 8 of these women were on the show. This match was fucking pointless. Pointless to me. This was convoluted. It didn't make sense. AEW pay-per-views run long. I know some people are going to complain about them. It is what it is, guys. They run long. I personally don't mind it. I'm spending money on it. You earn my money. You want to go 5 hours? Fine. I don't care about the time. If I'm entertained throughout, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a 2-hour episode of Dynamite. It doesn't matter if it's a 4.5-hour pay-per-view. If I am entertained throughout, I don't give a shit. If it was 4.5 hours of, watching paint dry, I would have an issue. But if it's 4.5, 5 hours of nonstop action and matches that are great and stories like the AEW does on their pay-per-views, I don't give a shit. With that being said, why didn't you just do the 2 semifinals matches on this show? Why do you have a 4-way that only affects one of the It just doesn't make sense to me. If you wanted the 8 women on the show, have the 2 semifinal matches on the show. I know, 3 pay-per-view matches with ladies, unbelievable. Who would have thought that we could do that? Just have the fucking tag matches on the show. That was my only gripe about it. Again, I was thrilled that these 8 women were getting on the show. I was thrilled that there was a second women's match on the show. And this match was awesome. And it was fun. Like I knew it would be. Because all 8 of these women fucking rule. But you should have just had the 2 semifinal matches on the show. Instead, you give us this convoluted mess. That really, it's a stipulation. It didn't really mean anything. With that being said, the Babes of Wrath defeated the Sisters of Sin on Dynamite to move to the finals. And I thought the Sisters of Sin, I thought it was going to be Toni and Mina versus the Sisters of Sin in the final. And I thought the Sisters of Sin were going to win. But I really want it to be Babes of Wrath versus Marina and Megan. And I want Babes of Wrath to get an upset victory and win the tag titles. I think Willow deserves it. I think Harley Cameron has turned herself into one of the more entertaining people in the whole company. And she's become a pretty damn good in-ring person. I think them being the first ever women's tag titles, the Babes of Wrath, I would fucking love that. And that's what I want to happen. Yes. Okay. Then we had the opening match of the show, and it was a good one. It was Pac. It was Darby Allin. I like this for Darby because it was a more so or less a standard wrestling match for Darby, because Darby does all the insane shit and he's in a lot of these insane stipulation matches. I think people forget that Darby's actually like a pretty good to really good, just regular professional wrestler as well. And I thought Pac was like the perfect opponent for him because Pac is one of the best in the world in the ring. I thought this was really good. They played a little cool vignette before the match showing Darby kind of looking like a mummy, all bandaged up with second-degree burns from that ridiculous spot in Blood and Guts when he went through the flaming tables. And I thought just the lead into it, that promo, that taped vignette that Pac cut last week on Dynamite, like a week ago Wednesday. Holy shit, man. How is that guy not talking more? I thought that was incredible. With Pac. And that all leads me to kind of what happens here. So Pac cheats. He cheated. He used Sting's baseball bat. He hit Darby in the head with it at the end of this match. Wheeler Yuta comes out. Jesus Christ. The Death Riders do their typical bullshit where Wheeler Yuta comes out. The referee's getting distracted. Pac grabs Sting's bat, or Darby's bat now, we should say. I think Sting kind of handed it to Darby. So I think it's Darby's now. But he grabs the bat. He hits Darby in the head. 1, 2, 3. Pac gets a huge singles victory over Darby. And I think, okay, this is all leading. There's going to be a mutiny here with the Death Riders. Okay. I think they're all going to turn on Moxley. Moxley's starting to show weakness. And what is the Death Riders thing? They don't like weakness. They don't care really necessarily whether you win or lose matches. They just don't like weakness. If you're weak, you don't belong in AEW. Well, guess who's looked the weakest out of anybody that's been in the Death Riders lately? It's Jon Moxley. Now, I know he got a win in his first match in the Continental Classic the other night. He got a win. I get that. But he's lost, and not only lost, he's been tapping out. A lot here. And I think Pac getting this win and beating Darby Allin, a guy that Moxley hasn't beat lately. Darby Allin actually beat Moxley twice. I think Pac getting a victory over Darby to start the show. Then Moxley loses again. There's a good chance that Moxley is going to have to face, he's facing Claudio next week on Dynamite in the Continental Classic because they're in the same group. I would have Claudio beat him. I would have Claudio beat Moxley. Because I think there will be a mutiny, and I think the rest of the Death Riders are going to take Moxley out just like they took Danielson out, just like they took anybody out. I think that Moxley is going to get a taste of his own medicine, and he's going to get taken out. There's going to be a mutiny. They're going to go their own ways, and I think Moxley is probably going to be a babyface at some point in 2026. Because I think that's where we're going here. And I think that this is all planting the seeds for that. I really do. But that was Full Gear. There was a pre-show. The pre-show had 4 matches. There was a trios title. The CMLL Trios Championships were on the line. We saw Mystico, Mascara Dorada, and Neon retain against Okada, Takeshita, and Hechicero because Okada and Takeshita were not eye to eye in that match, which led to those boys retaining. Eddie Kingston and Hook earlier in the evening defeated the Workhorsemen in like 2 minutes, squash match. Big Boom AJ and QT Marshall defeated Roppongi Vice in a tag match. The finish was a lot of fun. Big Justice hit a cutter on Trent, which was a good little spot there. And then the opening match of the show was a $200,000 4-way tag match, which saw the Bang Bang Gang defeat Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, Big Bill and Brian Keith, and the Outrunners. So it was a good show. I thought overall I would give it like a B+ to an A-. I thought FTR and Bandito and Brodito was my favorite match of the night. Right after that, I would put Stat and Mercedes, but I thought that tag title match was quite good. But I thought, again, another really, really entertaining show with, as you would expect with AEW, quality wrestling throughout. The swerve return at the end was great. So I thought overall another really, really good outing by AEW. I'm excited that the Continental Classic is back. We've already seen a bunch of matches this week on Dynamite and Collision that have all been great. Kevin Knight got a huge win over Darby Allin on Dynamite, and that was really what a star-making show for Kevin Knight. He looked like RVD in there. He looked like it was just some of the shit he did in that match was spectacular. I thought him getting that win was a nice surprise. Okada and Fletcher had a great match to start off Dynamite, which saw Fletcher win, which was really, really good. Pac and Speedball had a great match on Collision last night that saw Pac get his first victory. Claudio and Orange Cassidy was the main event of Dynamite. That was a good one. Takeshita defeated Roderick Strong in a good bout on Collision. John Moxley defeated Mascara Dorada in a good match. Dorada looked like he might pull one out there. I thought that was really good. They made Moxley look like he was going to go down with another L, and it was like, holy... what I wanted, and I understand they're not going to... This John Moxley, for crying out loud. I wanted Moxley to lose every match. I didn't want Moxley to win one match. Imagine he goes 0-5, just like in the biggest rut of his career. Just 0-5 in the Continental Classic, loses to all these guys in the eventual lead up to him getting ousted by his own team, by his own crew. That would have been, that's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. But yeah, no, that was AEW for the week. Good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Tonight, WWE Survivor Series. I talked about at the beginning of the show. We will be having a watch along, a watch party right here on the Hive _media, YouTube, Twitch. We will be live probably 10 to 15 minutes before the show starts. It'll be Josh, Peggy, Jamie, Stu having their own party, watching along to Survivor Series tonight. Only 4 matches on the show. I would like to see both singles matches. Like, I would like to see, like, at least one of the titles change hands, if not both, because if neither of them do, I'm afraid that this is going to be just not that great of a show. Not that great of a show. So I'm hoping there's some sort of, or there's a big angle, do something. Because, yeah, you know? But we have a singles match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. It is John Cena's last ever pay-per-view/PLE, and he is defending his IC title against the former champion, Dominic Mysterio, in his hometown. I don't think Cena's going to lose this. I would like to see Dominic win it back. I don't think Cena needs to have the IC title going into his last match and defend it against probably Gunther, I would guess. I don't think he needs to have that. I would like to see Dom maybe cheat or something happens and Dom gets it back. That's what I would like to see. But if I'm picking, I'm going to pick Cena. I think Cena's going to retain. I don't know if they'll have him lose it that quickly. I don't think he needs it anymore, but I would like Dominic Mysterio to win this match in particular, ideally. We then have another singles match. It is for the Women's World Championship. This has been a nice little story they've been telling. I wish they would have gotten an actual in-ring promo or segment on the Go Home show, but WWE apparently the last week just is like, no, we don't need women on the show. Fuck it. Cool. All right. Great. No women's matches on SmackDown last week. No women's match. This is not SmackDown as in yesterday. If you're watching this on Saturday, I'm talking last week. No women's matches. And on Raw, not fucking one. What the fuck are you doing? Get your head out of your fucking ass. No women's matches on the show. Fucking bullshit. Anyway, Stephanie Vaquer is defending against Nikki Bella. Nikki Bella turned heel on the Boston Raw. She walloped Vaquer with the title. Then she attacked her the next week in NYC at Madison Square Garden, attacked her when she was making her way out to cut a promo. Nikki Bella attacked from behind, beat her up a little bit. Nikki Bella, this is kind of, not her hometown, but this is her area-ish. I would like to see Nikki Bella win, too. I would like to see both these titles change hands. both the singles titles. I think if I'm picking, I think Nikki Bella has a better chance to win than Dom probably does, but I would like to see both of them win. But I'm picking Nikki Bella here. I know Stephanie's red hot, but this feels right to me. Have Nikki win it, hold it for a little bit, have Stephanie chase to win it back from Nikki by the Rumble, maybe. Or maybe this is just a way to, just have her, yeah. That's what I would do. Have Stephanie win it back at the Rumble, then she can focus on whatever she's going to be doing all the way to Mania. But I kind of would like to see Nikki Bella win here. I'm not just saying that because, Josh, because I know Josh will be pulling hard for Nikki Bella this evening. But I actually would like to see Nikki win this one. All right, then we have the 2 War Games matches. We assume one will open and one will close the show. I like the War Games stip. I like the gimmick, and these are star-studded match. Like all these teams are star-studded on both sides, on both the men's and the women's. I'm going to start with the men. We have the Vision, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed teaming up with Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, and Brock Lesnar to take on CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, the Usos, and Roman Reigns. Again, star-studded. I think the Vision needs to win this. I think the bad guys need to win this. I thought Raw was it was definitely a step back from the previous 2 Raws that were in MSG in Boston. Those were 2 of the best Raws of the year. So this was a step back, especially on a go-home week. But the few of the things they did well, I actually thought the Punk, Cody, Roman, triangle, I actually thought that was pretty good. Like Cody saying it's his team, Punk saying it's his team. Roman is like, you guys need to figure that shit out. Like, I don't know what's going on. The Usos are like, we're the only 2 that are on the same page. Like the 3 of you are fucking bitching and moaning at each other. I thought they did a good job of that. And I think at the end of the day, that is going to be the reason why the baby faces don't win this men's War Games match, because they're not all on the same page. They're not all on the same page. So I do think that is why this is going to happen. I do think the Vision's going to win. I don't know who's going to pin who. I would like Braun Breaker to be the guy that gets the pinfall. I would love him to pin Roman even, or any of them, because Braun Breaker should be the guy. I'm a little confused. You see the graphics that they show, they still have Braun Breaker as like the first guy in the Vision. But if you've been watching the TV show, Braun Breaker's like the 3rd or 4th guy. Like they've clearly positioned Logan Paul and Brock higher than him on the totem pole of this team. And I'm like, you do this angle with Seth Rollins where he takes out Seth Rollins. He's holding the world title up the next week. And now all of a sudden, Braun Breaker's just cool with being 4th fucking fiddle in this match. Makes no fucking sense. Strike while the iron's hot. I'm tired of the fucking old guys and the world title picture being involved with all fucking old guys. Have Braun Breaker pin somebody and get the title on Braun Breaker sooner than later. Stop fucking around. Put a young guy in your main event scene. What the fuck are we waiting for? It's a joke. And I don't even necessarily, besides Brock, he can go fuck off. Hilarious that he fell, by the way. Couldn't happen to a better guy. Played it off like a pro, though. I will give him that respect. He played it off like a pro. But fuck that guy. That was hilarious. I'm just tired of it. And I don't even, I like Cody. I love Cody. I love Punk. I like Roman. I like Drew. Can we get some fucking youth in the world title scene? Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Javon Evans, we just saw had a banger with Gunther a couple weeks ago. Carmelo Hayes had banger with Gunther and a banger with Braun. Get some of these guys up in the main title or around that area. Why does it have to be 40-year-olds? Where is the youth movement? It is an age problem in the WWE. On the men's side, at least. There is an age problem, and they need to fucking fix it. So strap the rocket to Braun Breaker, have him pin Punk or Roman or even Cody. I don't give a shit. Have him pin one of those 3 and stop fucking around and let's go. Okay. Then we have the women's side. It is Nia Jax. It is Lash Legend. It's the Kabuki Warriors, the women's tag team champions. And it is the man, Becky Lynch, taking on, this team right here. All 5 former world champions. Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, and AJ Lee. That might be the best War Games team in history. Truly. That is 5 first ballot Hall of Famers, 5 multi-time world champions. Incredible. That is an incredible team. And that is a team that I just do not see losing this match. I would expect that AJ Lee will pin Becky Lynch to further that. I think now that Becky, and I know she's still talking about Maxine and she wants her title back, but now that Becky is not the IC champion, Josh and I were talking about this on the Raw watch along this past Monday. I think that that's a match that you can build out to Mania now with AJ and Becky kind of as a marquee matchup. Even maybe a main event matchup on one of the nights, but a marquee matchup at Mania. So I see AJ pinning Becky to end this match. I thought the promo that Becky cut on Monday was excellent. I loved the dynamic of Becky kind of only talking about herself to start the promo. And you kind of, I love Asuka, so I had my eyes on Asuka. And she was like side-eyeing Becky. And then she looked at Kyrie and she was like, "Oh fuck!" And she was like, "Side-eye, you talking shit?" But and then she looked over at Nia, and her and Nia were kind of talking shit. Like, "What the fuck is she talking about? She's not talking about, you know." And then Becky kind of putting herself over, saying like, "Oh, I built this team. I found this team." She talks about Lash Legend. She goes, "My friend, the person that I'm gonna take to the mountaintop." She's kind of. I don't want to mention the dude's name because he's a piece of shit, but there's a certain guy that runs the country that I live in. Some of Becky's verbal, like some of her vocabulary, she's leaning into like a little bit of that and the way that that person kind of speaks. And I think it's working for her. I think she does it in a way where she's making fun of that, but it's funny, and she does it in a way that it works. I think that arguably this is the funnest I've had with Becky Lynch, maybe ever. I think this character right now is like she's in her bag, man. She's in her fucking bag, man, and she's enjoying her time. And I'm enjoying it too, but I think they're going to take an L here. I think AJ is going to pin Becky, and I do think the baby faces on the women's side. I would like this to main event. It won't. Because Roman, Cody, Punk, I get it. It won't. But I would like this to main event. But I will say this. This match should be a showcase for Lash Legend. Because if you look at the other 9 people in this ring, Kairi Sane was an NXT heavyweight champion. They are all former world champions. Nia Jax, Becky, Asuka, Rhea, Io, Charlotte, Alexa, AJ Lee. And then you have Lash Legend, who's, not brand, she's new to the main roster, just came up less than a month ago. Her and Nia, formidable monster group pairing. I think that this match, obviously you're going to tell a bunch of stories in this match, but one of the stories you should be telling in this match is that Lash Legend belongs in that ring with these 9 Hall of Famers. That's what this match should be built around, is making Lash Legend look like she absolutely belongs in that ring. Because I know she does. She's fucking terrific. But making her absolutely look like she belongs in that ring with those 9 future Hall of Famers, that should be checkmark A that WWE is doing when it comes to this match. 100%. And I think they will. I think Lash Legend's going to ball out in this match. I think she's going to look great. But I got the baby faces winning that one. So again, look it. I think the show is going to be fun. I'm hoping there's a couple surprises, as in like a shock title win, or maybe there's a huge angle that comes out of something. I don't know if somebody turns heel in one of the 2 War Games. Man, I don't know. But this show, I think if the show is rather just standard fare and predictable, I don't think it's going to be that great of a show. So I'm hoping there's some stuff that goes with it. But again, I like the War Game stuff. Hopefully it should be a great show. I know the watch party here on the Hive Whether it's a good show or not, it's going to be a good time. So make sure you're here. Make sure you're here with the gang, having a good time, saying hi, and hanging out with the crew tonight because it's going to be a great show. All right. That's kind of the wrestling side of things. Look at that. My timing is impeccable, dude. My timing is impeccable, man. I was like, hopefully we don't go more than an hour on the wrestling. Hour on the dot, bro. Hour on the dot. All right. Pro sports. I need to address it. My Boston Red Sox. It is the offseason, free agency. You know, if CJ were still here, he's a big Blue Jays guy. They signed Dylan Cease, which was a great get to them. That was a guy, if the Red Sox were going to pay money, Dylan Cease was a guy that I really wanted the Red Sox to go after. But the Blue Jays got him, so their rotation is even more formidable now. Bieber stayed. You got Cease. You got your Savage. Berrios is like your fifth guy. That's like Berrios as your fifth guy is like that's like a top 5 fifth starter in the league. So the Blue Jays are clearly spending money. They're not going anywhere. The Red Sox made a trade, and it's not even a trade I hated. They traded Dick Fitz. That's right. That's right. Richard Fitz, Dick Fitz. They traded him, and I believe our fifth prospect in the system, Brendan Clark, to the St. Louis Cardinals for Sonny Gray, 36-year-old all-star 2 years ago. Last year, I think he was like 13, and the Cardinals were terrible last year. He was 13-8. Had an ERA of like 4.2. Not the greatest ERA, but he had a top 5 strikeout rate in baseball, and the Red Sox get boners for those nerd metrics like that. So definitely a guy that the Red Sox, and here's the thing. I like the player. If you're telling me that Sonny Gray is the Boston Red Sox third or fourth starter next year, I am more than okay with that. My problem is Craig Breslow, the GM of the Boston Red Sox, at the winter meeting said, we're going after a number 2 starter to put behind Garrett Crochet. And my fear is, because of how the Red Sox have operated here the last 5 to 7 years, which is like dickheads, cheap fucking dickheads. If the Red Sox are going to operate the same way, they're going to try to convince me and other people that Sonny Gray is the number 2 guy behind Garrett Crochet, and that is not good enough. He's a good number 3. He's a great number 4. He's a great number 4. He's a good number 3. He is not a number 2. That is not who you were talking to me about, Craig Breslow. Not good enough. So I hope that isn't the only pitching you are going to address this offseason. Now, the reports have come out that the Red Sox are now looking at hitters. Kyle Schwarber has been mentioned. Pete Alonso, JT Real Muto. A couple of the Japanese guys that are coming over have been mentioned. They said the Red Sox are even interested in potentially bringing in 2 of those guys. Alex Bregman, obviously, is in the mix of bringing him back, which I would like them to do. I would like them to bring Bregman back and sign one of those other guys. So we'll see. And if Sonny Gray is the only pitching acquisition you make, but you do something like get 2 of those guys, that will make me feel better. But if you're only getting 1 of those guys and you're going to try to convince me that Sonny Gray is the number 2 guy against Crochet, you can go fuck yourself. Because I'm not doing this again with you popping out the mouth saying, again, this is like 3 or 4 off seasons in a row where the Red Sox have told their fans, we're going big, guys. And then they do just enough to make you somewhat happy, but stay along their cheap-ass lane. Don't fucking do it. You didn't spend the last 3 or 4 years because we weren't ready. Well, guess what? We're ready now. Roman's up now. Roman Anthony's up. Myers up. We made the playoffs last year. Now's the time. Spend the fucking money, John. Spend the money. Okay. That's my baseball minute. All right, we got some NFL this weekend. We already had 3 games. Thanksgiving Day, 3 great games. 2 of them were actually good games. The other one was kind of a blowout at night, but 3 great matchups. In the early game, we saw a really good back-and-forth affair, which saw the Green Bay Packers hold on and defeat the Detroit Lions on the road, 31-24. They are now 8-3-1, and the Lions fall to 7-5. So the Packers have they are staying neck and neck with the Bears at the top of the NFC North. We then saw a really, really good game. The middle game, really, really back and forth. That fourth quarter was exciting as hell. And it saw the Dallas Cowboys eke out a victory over the Kansas City Chiefs, 31-28. The Chiefs fall to 6-6. And they are fighting for their playoff lives. They are out of, if the season ended today, the Chiefs are out of the playoffs. Mahomes was lights out yesterday, but he was basically a man by himself out there. Kelsey had a couple big drops. Rashee Rice had a big day, but he also had a couple big drops. Kelsey caught a touchdown pass, but again, the drop, like, I feel bad. Mahomes is having like a, his last couple years have been down. Mahomes is having a stat-wise, like a really good year for him, but his team around him is this feels to me like those like 2008, 2009, 2010 Patriots teams where yes, we were still good and we were making the playoffs, but it was Brady doing everything and we were kind of retooling the roster for that second run. That's where I feel like the Chiefs are at. I feel like the Chiefs had their first run. They won their 3 Super Bowls. They went to 5 or whatever it is. And now they need to turn, Kelsey's going to retire soon. They need more weapons around Mahomes. They need to rebuild the offensive line. The defense is getting older. I think this season and maybe even next, I think, are like the retooling years. They're still going to be in the hunt for things because Patrick Mahomes, look at, if I have the number 1 pick overall in a draft with every person available, I'm still taking Mahomes 1. You watched that game yesterday. He's still the best guy in the league. He's still the best quarterback in the league. I don't know how you can watch him and think he isn't. He's just the best quarterback in the league. He does the best. He's just insane. He's just the supporting cast it's just not what it was. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see where they go. And then you got these Dallas Cowboys. They're now 6-5-1. They've won 2 games in a row, and they have defeated both teams that were in the Super Bowl last year in back-to-back weeks. They were down 21-0 to the Philadelphia Eagles in the third quarter last week, and they came from behind and defeated the Eagles, and then they came from behind multiple times in that fourth quarter and defeated the Chiefs. So 2 straight wins against both Super Bowl teams. They're looking good. Their defense is coming together. Quinnen Williams is a beast. Their defense is looking pretty good. Dak has always, me and CJ talked about it all year. Dak is an elite thrower of the football. George Pickens is an animal. CeeDee Lamb was a stud yesterday. Ferguson is a good tight end. I still think that Javonte Williams is one of, if not the best free agent signing of any team. He's a really, really solid running back, and the Cowboys have used him great. I think the Cowboys, they're not going to catch the Eagles for the division. I don't think they do play again in Philly. I don't think they're going to catch the Eagles for the division, but I think the Cowboys can sneak into the playoffs. I really do. And if they do, I think they're scary. I think they're scary in that you don't want them coming into. If you were picking a team, I wouldn't want the Cowboys coming in. Dak's going to throw for 350 yards, and I wouldn't. That's a scary team if they sneak in. And then the nighttime game last night saw the return of Joe Burrow made his return, and they really beat the shit out of the Baltimore Ravens. The Bengals looked like if Burrow was there all year, they'd be in the playoff hunt. They're only 4-8 with that win. They basically need to win out to even have a chance to go to the playoffs, and I think they have an opportunity to do so when you look at their schedule. They're in Buffalo next week. Then they're home for Baltimore again. So those are 2 tough games, even though they just handled Baltimore on the road. Those are 2 tough games in Buffalo, at home against a divisional team in the Ravens. And then they got a bunch of then they play Miami, Cleveland. I think their last 4 games after those 2, or last 3 games after those 2, they're all against not great teams. So they do have an opportunity to run the table. Burrow looked like he didn't miss a beat last night. A couple touchdown passes. Jamar Chase had over 100 yards receiving. He likes playing the Ravens. He's very good against them. Yeah, man. The Bengals look like a team that I'm glad the Patriots played them last week, because if Burrow would have came back and he played last week the way the Patriots played, which was not good, they would have beaten us. But Burrow picked a good week to come back. They handled the Ravens. on the road. So those are the games that have already occurred. I am recording this on a Black Friday morning. There is a Black Friday game today. It's at 3 p.m. It's a good game too. It's the 8-3 Chicago Bears traveling to Philly to play the 8-3 Philadelphia Eagles, who are coming off that embarrassing loss to Dallas. I'm very intrigued by this game because I think the Bears are playing as good as anybody in football, but especially in the NFC. But I still think the Eagles are the more talented team of the two. And I don't know what it is. And I know I dog on the Eagles because I hate their fans, but like, it just never looks like the offense is on the right. I don't know why it always looks like it. The Eagles are so talented and they're good, but it always looks like it's so hard for them to score offensively, even though it shouldn't be. They have Saquon Barkley. They have Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Goddard. They have all, and they put up points, but it just always looks like it's like hard. Nothing ever looks easy for them, especially offensively. It's very bizarre. With that being said, I'm going to go with Philly at home. I hate it because I actually think the Bears are really good. I think Caleb has found it. I think Ben Johnson has gotten into Caleb, and he's like, just trust me, man, follow the system. And Caleb looks like a legitimate quarterback, which I was wrong about. I came on here earlier in the season, and I was like, I know it's probably still too early, but I don't think you can win with Caleb. I will take that L. Because this Caleb that we've seen, you can win with this guy. He's been very good. Would I be shocked if the Bears won today? Absolutely not. But I'm going to pick the Eagles. All right. We then get to the Sunday slate. We have the 8-4 49ers heading to Cleveland to face off the 3-8 Cleveland Browns. Shedeur Sanders made his first start last week, and he got a victory, and he won. He's clearly the best quarterback the Browns have. With that being said, I think the Niners are too talented, even though Brock Purdy, I think they're going to have we've talked about it, but I think the 49ers maybe at the end of this year are going to look and go, we paid Brock Purdy a lot of money to do everything that Mac Jones can do. And Mac Jones might be able to do it even a little bit better sometimes. With that being said, I think the Niners are too talented. I think the Niners are going to win this game. I think it'll be close, though, because the Browns do have a great defense. And Brock Purdy has not looked good. 3 picks last week, his first game back. Yeah. But I'm picking the Niners. We then have the Jacksonville Jaguars, 7-4, heading to Tennessee to play the 1-10 Titans. I don't believe in the Jaguars. I think they're fraudy. Their defense is not. Their defense is great, but Trevor Lawrence stinks. I'm going to say it till the end of time. I don't care how many games he wins. He stinks. He's not good. He's a fraud to me, but they're playing the 1-10 Titans. Cam Ward had a valiant effort last week against Seattle, though, who I believe is a top team in the NFC. With that being said, the Jaguars should win this game. We then have the 6th. This game is intriguing to me. Divisional matchup. We just found out that Daniel Jones is playing with a fracture in his leg. He's got like I forget, did they say fibula? He's got a broken bone in his leg, but he's going to play through it. I guess it's fine for the most part. But we did find that out. The Houston Texans are 6-5. Their defense is fantastic. They are on the road in Indy playing the 8-3 Colts. I'm going with the Texans here, y'all. I like the way the Texans are playing. I like the way their defense is playing. I do think the Colts are a good team. I think they've earned that right, but I do think they're a little fraudy. I'm picking the Houston Texans on the road. That's what I'm doing. All right. Oh, man, what a terrible game this is. The 2-9 New Orleans Saints going to Miami against the 4-7 Dolphins. I am going to pick Miami. I just think the Saints are probably the least talented team in the league. Them are the Titans. Yeah, I just think the Dolphins handle business, but that is a terrible game. There's a couple terrible games right here. Because then now you get the 4-7 Falcons on the road in New York to play the New York Jets. Tyrod Taylor getting the start for the Jets. Michael Penix is done for the year, so it's Kirk Cousins time. I'm going to pick the Jets. Don't like it at all because I hate the Jets, but I'm picking the Jets. Don't know why. Probably going to be wrong, but I'm going the Jets there. I just got a feeling. With that one. We got the Arizona Cardinals traveling from the West Coast to the East Coast for the early 1 o'clock game, 3-8, taking on the banged up and kind of struggling Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are coming in at 6-5. Obviously banged up, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But with that being said, I think the Buccaneers will handle business. They will get back to their winning ways, and they will get a victory and improve to 7-5 by defeating the Arizona Cardinals. We then have what I think they are the number one seed in the NFC. I do think they are the best team in the NFC. The Los Angeles Rams, 9-2, traveling to Carolina to play the 6-6 Carolina Panthers. Matthew Stafford has 30 touchdowns this year and only 2 interceptions. Tremendous. He is the MVP of the league right now. And I think that does not change, even though I love my Panthers. That does not change. The Rams will handle business. I actually think they probably cover the spread of 10, and the Rams improve to 10-2, and they keep on chugging along. That's what I think is going to happen here. Then we go to the 4 o'clock games. We have the 8-3 Seattle Seahawks at home against the 4-7 Minnesota Vikings. J.J. McCarthy has been benched. They're playing it off that it's an injury. It's not an injury. He stinks. So he was benched. Not going to be playing. Sam Darnold, I think, is going to have a little bit of juice in him in this game because the Vikings were more than okay with letting him leave. And I think this is a fuck you game for Sam Darnold. And I think the Seahawks are probably going to blow out. It's 11.5 points. That's a lot. But I do think the Seahawks will be closer to covering than they will be not. But I have the Seahawks winning that game. Then we have, this game actually could be a sneaky good one. We have the 7-4 Buffalo Bills traveling to Pittsburgh to play the 6-5 Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Bills are going to handle business. I think the Steelers are frauds. You know how I feel about the Steelers. I hate them anyway, but I just, they're average to me. Aaron Rodgers is not even playing, right? Is he missing this game? I know he missed the last game. Is this Mason Rudolph again? Either way, I don't think it matters, but I think Josh Allen's going to handle business. I think James Cook is going to have a good day on the ground. The Steelers' defense is not as strong as it usually has been in years past. I think the Bills are going to go into Pittsburgh and they're going to win, and the Steelers are going to drop to 6-6. And I still think that AFC North, even with the Ravens getting blown out on Thanksgiving night, I think that is wide open, baby. I think that is wide open. We have the Las Vegas Raiders, 2-9, heading to Los Angeles to take on the 7-4 Chargers. The Chargers are favored by 8.5 points. This is Chargers all day. The Raiders are terrible. Some dysfunction in the front office. They fired Chip Kelly. Not everybody is on board with that. So I don't know, but I think the Chargers handle business. They take care of business. They will improve to 8-4. And then we have the Sunday night game, which at the beginning of the year looked like it could have been a really good one, but obviously Jaden Daniels being hurt multiple times this year and just the Commanders not being as good as they were last year has kind of dampened this one a little bit. But we have the 9-2 Denver Broncos heading to the nation's capital to take on the Washington Commanders. Denver is favored by 6. Defense travels, and Denver has arguably the best defense in the league. I think against Marcus Mariota, they should have no problem handling business. I have the Denver Broncos winning, but I do think it will be close. But I do have Denver winning and going to 10-2. And then on Monday night, baby, the Monday night game, my 10-2, best record in the league, New England Patriots are hosting our arch rival, I would say, the only team that's ever really gotten the best of us, the New York Football Giants. Jameis Winston, which that game last week, even though they ended up losing to the Lions, what a Jameis Winston, man. He is so good for the league. That guy is just fun as fuck to watch. That play where he ran out and caught the ball and like spun out the defender and stiff arm, man. And his press conferences are some of the best. Patriots should win this game. I think they do win this game. However, in that Bengals game, not only did we play kind of shitty, we had two giant injuries in that game, both to the offensive line, both our rookie offensive lineman, Will Campbell, who it looks like he'll probably be out till maybe the playoffs, it looks like. Looks like we might have avoided a season-ending injury, which is good. And then Jared Wilson, the other rookie who had been playing left guard, he also got banged up. He might only miss a couple weeks, which would be good because he was playing pretty well too. But two big injuries. But even with that, the Giants are pretty bad, man. They don't have Scatabo. They don't have Jackson Dart. They're on an interim manager. I just think the Patriots are going to be ready to play. Games like this, trap games, some people say. We have the bye week after this. So this is the game the Patriots should win. We are dramatically better than the New York Giants in all aspects. But it's a game that could end up being closer. Like it's a 7-point spread. I wouldn't be shocked if the Pats don't cover. Like if they win by 4 or even 6, maybe a couple field goals. I wouldn't be shocked. But I do think the Patriots win. They go to 11-2 in the bye. Who would have thought? But that is how I see Monday night ending, and that's how I see the football slate wrapping up. As we head into week 14, we're getting towards the end. Playoff seeding and all this stuff is happening soon. So, yeah, I mean, that is where we're at, yo. That is where we're at. I am excited. I cannot believe the Patriots potentially could be 11-2 heading into the bye. 11-2, guys. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. But on that note, that is going to do it here in this solo endeavor of the Swarm this week. I appreciate you all watching. If you are watching, click that bell for notifications so you can get the updates whenever we go live here on the Hive, as we have great stuff throughout the week. We have Jamie and the Buzz every single day of the week. You get clips Monday through Thursday and the whole interview on Friday. He had my boy Pluggo on this week for Thanksgiving. You have the watch parties. Josh and I do Monday Night Raw every single week. Josh and I will also be moving to Friday nights here soon, doing SmackDown. And then I'm going to attempt to stay on Raw. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to attempt to find myself a new co-host to do the Raw watch-alongs as well. Every Wednesday night, we have Jamie and Peggy for the AEW Dynamite watch-along. Watch party. Sorry, we call them parties. I'm in the old school habit of calling them watch along, but watch parties. Every major PLE and pay-per-view, we also have watch parties. Tonight, like I've mentioned numerous times, Survivor Series watch party. Josh, Jamie, Peggy, Stu. Last week it was Queen, Queer Auntie Collins, and myself here for Full Gear. We announced last week that Auntie Collins and my pal Jose on the air, Jose Gonzalez, are the newest contributors here on the Hive. So stay tuned to see what they're going to be getting up to. We have the Substack, which Peggy is always writing some cool video game stuff. She had a big one on the Joystick Awards earlier this week. We're going to be doing some stuff for the Video Game Awards coming up here, I believe, with Peggy as well. Bryn doing her great wrestling writing. We have Mike as well, talking about some wrestling on the Substack. Josh talks about a little bit of everything over on the Substack. We have Pluggo with his college football picks here every week. We have Stu with his I Don't Know Ball and I Don't Know Puck all his videos. He's great, funny, entertaining, really good at what he does. We have the High View that I do every week. We just finished our first season. We have our bowl game, and then we are done year one. We won our conference in our inaugural season. Never been done before in the history of college football. So we got that going on. The Swarm is here. Whether it's a one-man show, one time a week here, moving forward for a little bit, or I find myself a new co-host and we get back to the 2 times a week. We have the Swarm here weekly. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. I think that's everything. Josh is obviously streaming video games multiple times a week. He's been playing Stray along. He always plays some GTA and obviously WWE, WWF games as well. Did I forget anything? I don't think. Oh, Impact Intact will be coming back with a rotational guest co-host with Josh, where they go and look back at the craziest episodes of Impact and its history. That's always a good time. So yeah, there's always something here for you at the Hive. We have great content every single day. We're bringing in new names. In 2026, we're going to get even better, even bigger, even cool. Like, it's all happening, folks. So give us a follow at the Hive_media and go check out our friends. You see them scrolling on the bottom of the screen. This episode of The Swarm is powered by our pals at W Energy, as every episode of The Swarm is. The clean energy drink. If you're getting ready for going back to work after the holiday weekend, you got a big gaming sesh, you got to study, whatever it is. If you need some energy, go check out our pals at W Energy. Multiple flavors to choose from, and it's clean. No extra sugars, none of those jitters that you feel after you drink some energy drinks. This is all natural, all clean. And if you head on over to w.gg and you type in that promo code, The Hive, all one word, through the end of November. So we still have a couple days. You get 30% off your order. And then naturally it'll go back to the 10% off once December starts. But if you act now, in the next couple days, you can get 30% off for the rest of the month if you go to w.gg and you type in that promo code, The Hive, all one word. Thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully this was enjoyable. I don't really do the solo thing that much. But it's kind of nice not having anybody talking back at me, and I can just tell you guys how I feel because I am obviously always right. So yes, appreciate you all watching. Give this a thumbs up, click the bell for notifications, share this out. It helps the Hive a lot. It helps me out a lot. You can find me at JPJ Loves Gaming on all social media platforms. My schedule is out every single Monday, where you can see me all across the landscape, talking pro wrestling, talking sports, playing video games, doing all that cool and fun stuff. Have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy Survivor Series tonight. And I will see you all next week on The Swarm. Peace out.